If I could only figure out how to get my team motivated.
We are never going to get this project done on time.
Oh my God, my payroll numbers are insane. Why are we having all this overtime?
Do you have these or similar employee problems? Do you feel like some of your employees are just there for a paycheck? Tired of recruiting, interviewing, onboarding, and training just to find out you must do it all over again? Then it's time for you to find out how to have outrageously awesome employees. Sit back, buckle up, and get ready because we're about to drop a knowledge bomb on you. Please welcome to the mic the host of the show, the man who puts the human in human resources, the 007 of team building, the emperor of employee engagement, Randy Starr.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of How to Have Outrageously Awesome Employees. Today's guest is a human resources manager from Crestline Hotels and Resorts, and it's Lilly Andorsky. Good morning, Lilly. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Lilly is on her way to one of her hotels. You may be able to hear her commute in the background, so that's why. And how many hotels do you have to go back and forth to, Lilly?
8.
8 hotels. That's a pretty decent amount of responsibility for an HR manager. Hey, just before we get started, let everybody know about your background, what you've done in the past, who you've worked for, that type of thing, so everybody can get to know you a little bit better, okay?
Yeah. So I actually started off going to school at College of Charleston in South Carolina. I did their hospitality and business program. Originally, I thought I was going to be an event planner, but after doing some internships and working at the front desk with event planners, I slowly realized that was not an area that I really wanted to go into and I would be successful. So as I was working the front desk for about 2 years in South Carolina and Charleston and also in DC, I was becoming more of a supervisor, and I realized, what I liked about my job was the day-to-day aspect of supporting the employees. I was training my team members. I was recognizing their birthdays and all that little stuff that kind of was like, Lilly, you're doing human resources for your team, basically. So that's when I decided to make the first move into IT recruiting, as this was like a first avenue I could really get into human resources and really understand more about the industry and the job and what it entailed. I was doing the IT recruiting for about a year when I realized I was ready to make the move into a pure HR role, so to say. And I thought, what better way to do HR than to do it in the industry where I used to work as a front desk agent? So I started off as an HR manager at a hotel in DuPont Circle in Washington, D.C., which was a fairly big deal. I was like 23, 24, and I was the only HR person on property responsible for, I think it was 50 to 60 employees. But all went well, and I was with that company. It was Remington Hotels for about 2 years, working at 2 of their different properties. And then I decided to make another move up in my career with Crestline Hotels, and I started with them, it will be July of last year. And I currently work for them and have about 8 hotels that I assist with on a day-to-day basis.
Wow. And those HR folks that might be listening that aren't in hospitality, they're in another industry, they might not understand how demanding 8 hotels can be.
Yeah.
I come from a hospitality background as well. In fact, I started just like you did as a front desk agent. And it's crazy. Of 8 hotels, that's a lot. That's why I said that in the beginning. So you found yourself as a front desk person doing HR stuff. So we kind of have an idea, but what is it about human resources that made you pursue the career?
It was really being that that go-to person that, has the answers or has the resources to find it. It's being that supportive, that backbone for when the associates are in need. And just, that's what I really like about it. I may not always have the right answers, but I say, give me a second and I'll go find out and I'll help you out. And it's letting them know that they can rely on me,
right?
Which is the biggest draw in for me.
That's awesome, because it's a very important role. I mean, it's especially when you're in an industry like hospitality that's so labor intensive, and there's so many employees that have so many different backgrounds, so many different education levels, and they need somebody. They need to ask questions, because let's face it, managers, department heads, they don't know the answer to everything, just like you don't know the answer to everything either, but you have more specific information than a operations person would have to help them out. So it's a huge responsibility, and that's awesome. The go-to person. I always loved the HR person in the hotel. They were always the go-to person. They
usually had the candy in the office too.
Exactly. That too. I interviewed an HR professional earlier last month that's in hospitality as well, and she said she was going to be a teacher, and her teaching career rolled over into this. So I'm thinking, because remember when I was a little kid, the teachers did the bulletin boards and put all the pictures up and everything. She's like doing the exact same thing. So that's awesome. So tell us a story about what you would consider to be one of your greatest accomplishments so far in HR.
So with this question, I originally was like, I'm going to tell, an opportunity that I helped an associate out, get back on their feet and become successful. But like, if I'm being honest, I would say it's my day-to-day life working. I think I'm very proud of the fact of my age and where I am in life and the responsibilities that I have. I think that really says a lot, and it says more that, not only that I'm doing a obviously semi-decent job giving me all this responsibility, but, the fact that every day I can wake up and I'm proud of what I do, and I'm proud at the end of the day of the work and the people that I support.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and it's a great, you have tremendous opportunities in front of you, being where you're at a young age, and having a career in front of you, and you have no clue what could possibly happen, especially since it's something that you enjoy.
Yeah, and I think that, with hospitality and also just with human resources, there's a lot of gray area. It's not necessarily black and white, and sometimes, it's nice to know that people feel comfortable coming to you because you will help make things clear and more understandable.
I agree. So we're all about employees here. Tell us what.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Tell us what you do to help employees grow.
I make sure that I am a constant foundation for them on a day-to-day basis. I don't try to just show up here and there and be friendly, but it's about being there for them on every single day and every single moment, making sure that I provide them the resources so they can grow and they can develop. And, I realize, especially with the associates that are at my hotels, they may not be there forever, but I don't look at that aspect. I look at making them successful in, the years to come. So that means, providing them with certain avenues that will make them more successful, and it may not be with my company, that's fine. But just making sure that they have the tools and they can utilize them appropriately.
Exactly. I always tried to grow associates regardless of whether they were going to stay with me or not. I just felt like that was the right thing to do.
Yeah, because I learned when I was recruiting, I didn't really care if they took the job or not, but I wanted to make sure that they were happy doing, working for 8+ hours a day. And if that meant taking the job I was handing them, or if it wasn't, that's fine as long as that they're comfortable.
Exactly. Well, it's the spirit of service.
Very true.
You want to help them. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to help you if you help them. Hey, you mentioned this about you were thinking about doing this on a previous question. Tell us a time when you've helped an employee overcome a challenge.
So I used to work at a property in Annapolis, Maryland, and I had a few associates that did not have a great living situation. And, obviously I could have been like, well, that's your personal life and this is work, so you need to separate it and figure it out. But, I sat with them individually and I helped search with them for resources and avenues in the local area so they could get off to a better start and a better foot with their home situation. Because also at the end of the day, if they have a stable environment at home, that will also make them more successful in the workplace too. It's another way to think about it.
Exactly. Spillover and crossover.
Exactly.
Precisely. Spills over stuff they do at work, spills over into their home life and crosses over to other people. I mean, it's just so true. How awesome. That's cool. And you could argue that if somebody said, what are you doing that for? That doesn't have anything to do. Well, it has a lot to do with work.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have a safe environment at home, or you can't eat when you're away from work, or whatever the negative situation is, it's either going to lead to very poor performance at work, or they're going to quit, not have a job. Yeah. So that's cool. So when it comes to training, and I want to mean specifically right now at Crestline, what type of training do you feel is the most important for your employees?
At the end of the day, I think it's most important for them to understand the tools and the resources that they have on hand and available to them, and understand how they can utilize them. I'm not going to tell them, here's a hammer and you're going to use it only for nails, but I'm going to say, here is a hammer, and you can decide how best to use it, because they may see a different way to use it, and it's also going to be a good way versus the way that I see to use it. So making sure that they are aware, again, like what they have access to, and decide how they can best use it themselves.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Hey, we hire smart people, and then we try to teach them how to do stuff that they already know how to do, which is sometimes not the right thing to do. Hey, do you have a typical day, and if so, what would it be like?
If I have a typical day, usually, so it always starts with waking up in the morning, and I make sure I do usually recruit from my hotels in the morning, assist with employee relations, and then I travel to a hotel. And throughout the day, it's assisting every hotel with their needs as it comes up. So, whatever it might be, whether it's sending a background check or it's, putting out a fire, it just depends on the day.
Right. Nobody's come up with, here's my typical day and gone step by step. I mean, when you deal with people, there is no such thing as a typical day, I don't believe.
No, that's
true. Okay, Lilly, I've got one more question for you. And this one's really not for me. This one would be for someone who is listening that may be considering getting into HR, or they may be someone who has just recently got a job in HR. What would you say to that listener to give them some encouragement or some advice?
I would say is, I'm trying to think the best way to word it, but it would be to say, see how you can best work with your coworkers. We can't change people at the end of the day, but we can change ourselves to best accommodate the situation. And I think that is a great bottom line of HR, because you're working with so many people that, it can become frustrating, but if you understand how to work best with them, then it makes the whole team successful at the end of the day, and your life easier too, to be honest.
Life easier. That's the
Yeah.
best part right there. But honestly, it is difficult, isn't it?
It is, and I think that it's, there's, like I said, there's so many different people that everyone works with on a day-to-day basis, and if you say, well, why can't they just do something differently? They're going to do what they're going to do, but if you're aware that you can accommodate that, and you can change your movements and get easier.
Right. Yeah. It's a great industry. It's a great field. If you are a person who likes to deal with people. If you don't, then stay in operations, because that's probably where you're best suited. Lilly, thank you so much for your time this morning. I know you're busy. 8 hotels. We've already established that you're busy. I appreciate you taking time to talk to us and spread some of your knowledge to those who might listen to this. Is there anything else you'd like to say before I conclude this episode?
No, that's it. I just really appreciate you taking the time to speak with me as well. It's a real pleasure.
Oh, super. Thank you so much. And guys, if this is the first time you've listened to the podcast or you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe below, and we will inform you of future episodes. So thanks. Have a great day, and bye for now.
Thanks for hanging out with us. Please feel free to contact Randy with any questions about team building or employee engagement issues. Subscribe to this channel so you'll be notified when new episodes are published.